Okay, we are now recording, and I hate to take class time to go through this, but I think it's I need to say it because and I'll have to repeat it every time someone else comes in. But I think you know part of what was going on last week. I think it actually, one part actually happened while this class was in session, but there have been new developments since then. So two different things, but they're intermingling here quite a bit, and they both affect the class in small ways. The one that affects it most is the fact that Friday a week ago, I went in for my blood work because I had my doctor's appointment on Tuesday of last week, and I figured it was going to be time for an infusion because it had been January since we had one, and usually I have 2 or 3 a year, and this was pretty far along not to have one, so I knew the counts were probably going to be up. I didn't know how high they were going to be up. They were normal range. The upper part of the normal range is oh, and here comes somebody. I think it's Jemanuel, but I'm not. No, I mean James. Yeah, Jemanuel's not in this class. So let me get James in here. So we're only missing Kara, and she's typically the first one here. So hopefully she will be coming in soon. But it's good to have the two of you here. We've got the Y chromosomes here, just waiting for the X chromosomes. Okay, James, I was telling Jesus or Miguel that what my situation was. Friday a week ago, I had my blood work done for my appointment that came up last Tuesday, and I think I told you part of this last time. And my counts came in way high. Normal range is, I think they say 4,000 to 11,000 white cells. I was at 140,000 white cells, so way too much. And being that high, that suppressed my red blood cells, my hemoglobin, my hematocrits, and also my platelets. So that's why I didn't know it, but I've been anemic probably for several weeks. Well, I've always been a little anemic, but I'm very anemic now. And that's part of the reason I think I've had so much problem with just getting so tired in class. I thought I just wasn't sleeping well, teaching too many classes. All that may be true, but the main reason is I'm very anemic. Okay, so I've just run out of energy pretty quickly. So that's why I drink a Coke or something like that during class, trying to boost some energy back. Okay, so sorry about that. But anyway, the counts, white cells are really high. Okay, so they did want to schedule me for, well, he had me go back in Wednesday for more blood work to make sure the anemia wasn't being caused either by the disease or by the treatment, but it's just being suppression. He also wanted to check and make sure the malignant cells were still having the same markers they used to have. Otherwise, the treatment that I was taking might not be as effective. And so far, this treatment has been very, very, very effective. Okay, so I'm expecting it to be effective again. But he wanted to check both of those things, so I went back for more blood work on Wednesday. It came back, and that's when the counts went up from 136 or 1,000 to 140,000. So they're climbing. So they wanted to get me in for treatment. Because the counts are so high, and they've evidently had, because this is such an effective treatment, they've had issues either at UAB or somewhere else before. When this treatment hits those cells, when there's so many of them, it blasts them. I'm using non-medical terms here, and it just dumps a bunch of junk into your blood system, and you can get, there's some name for it, from all that stuff being in your system. So they've going to have me starting tonight a diuretic type material, so it will enhance the flushing out of the stuff out of my system. So I'll take them for 2 days before the treatment and then 5 days after the treatment. So I've got 7 days to take that. Okay, now there's the rub. Because the counts are so high, and evidently they've had some problems with this drug before of that happening, they want me to do it in 2 days rather than 1 day. I've always had my treatments when I could on Fridays, okay, so it doesn't mess with any classes. Now they want to do 10% on Friday and 90% on 10% on Thursday and 90% on Friday. They have to have it back-to-back days. I thought, well, can you have it one Friday and the next? No, they want it back-to-back. So I'm going to have to miss Thursday's class, period. I'm going to be at the clinic hopefully by 7 in the morning, and they're going to start the treatment, and they said they've allowed 8 hours for the treatment. Hopefully it'll be done sooner than that, but it won't be done in time for us to have this class. I can almost guarantee that. They've never gotten me out. You know, when I went in went in at 7, they had me out by 11. I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm not even going to schedule a Zoom for this class. Now, if it does happen and everything just works like a charm, they're on the ball, get it all done, I can take the treatment, have no side effects. If I come back and there's time to pick up the class somewhere, I may throw a session out there and just be watching for it. The odds of that happening are pretty low, okay? And here's part of the reason for that. Part of the treatment is they give me Benadryl. They give me 2 Tylenol. Usually I don't take any kind of medicine, and when I do take a Tylenol, it's usually 1. So 2 Tylenol almost in itself would make me groggy. Benadryl, however, really makes me groggy. So usually within 15 to 30 minutes of taking the Benadryl, I'm out. I'm either so tired. Now, up until then, I'm going to be grading papers. If I can get on the internet, I'll be loading things on Blackboard, doing whatever. A lot of times I can't get internet there because they've got metal, structure in the building, so much electronics and stuff, you have a really lousy signal, and everybody's trying to get on it, so you can't get on it. So I sometimes won't be able to do that, but I can sit there and grade papers, and I usually get an hour or 2 worth of work done up until the Benadryl sits in. So if that's the case, I will be doing some stuff Thursday and Friday, but at some point then I'm out. Okay, I'm not really able to do very much. The treatment doesn't hurt. It's not a bother. It's just I get sleepy because of the Benadryl and the Tylenol, and maybe the other stuff they give me as well. They give me steroids and other things too. They're trying to cut down the chance of reactions. So anyway, I will be out of pocket just about all day Thursday. I'm hoping, they said they're allowed 8 hours. That would put me back home at 3 or shortly after 3. I have a class that starts at 3:15. If I can stay awake, I'm going to try to be here to teach that class, okay? I'm going to let them know today that I may be a little late, and let them know that, and I may not be able to make it through the class if I get that tired, but we're going to try to make that one. But this 11:30 class, not going to happen, I don't think. Okay, so I want y'all to tell me what you want to do about that. Do you want to make up the class? I'm quite willing to do it. It's my fault we're missing it. It's not the school. It's not a holiday. It's my treatment. I couldn't avoid it. But if you do want to make it up, we can. Here are the times we could make it up. I'm free from 8 to 10 on Mondays and Wednesdays, and Mondays and Wednesdays, and from 4 to 6 on Mondays and Wednesdays. I'm free from 11 right after this class until 1 to 3. Right after this class, we get through at 12:45. So I'm free right after the class at 12:45 if you want to go straight through until, that'd be 12:45 until 2 o'clock, I guess it would be, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would be right. 12:45 to 2. We could do that next Tuesday if you wanted to. or uh, or Thursday, either one, and then Friday would be available 8 to 12 to do anytime to do that. Not this Friday, because this Friday I'm going to be back at the clinic. They are starting me only 8:15 on Friday, and I'll probably be there all day because that's a 90% day, so I'll be there all day on Friday, especially since they're starting later. I'll be going later, and it'll probably take the full time. I'm hoping Thursday will not. So that's the first part of the issue, so be thinking about that. And the dates I said were for next week, not this week. The other thing that happened, I think it happened in this class, I told you about a good friend of ours that had been taken to the emergency room. She collapsed in the parking lot of our church on a Tuesday night of last week, less than a week ago. And they rushed her to the emergency room. They stabilized her. They got her into intensive care. And 2 days later, actually during this class, I got word that she had died. Well, I'm her contact person. She has no family living in Alabama. She has we don't know of any family anywhere. We know there was a sister, there may still be a sister in Virginia, but she had no relationship with her sister. Her sister was way older than her. She was a surprise pregnancy at the end of her parents' time. They didn't even think they could have children anymore. Suddenly Judy popped up. Her next youngest sibling was way older than she was. I think this is Kira kind to come in. Let me see if I can get her. See if that'll work. Did that let her in? Yes, it did. Okay. So Kira's here. Perfect attendance today. Way to go, team. All right. So anyway, Kara, I'm talking about the death of my friend. I'm in charge. I mean, I'm the contact person for everything. Fortunately, I'm not going to be in charge of everything, but I'm the contact person for everything. If there's any legal stuff, I have to deal with it. She was in a HUD-assisted apartment, so HUD requires the apartment be cleared in 2 weeks. So I'm responsible for getting everything out. The Episcopal place where she lived, they're going to assist with that big time, but I still have to be involved with it. Okay. She donated her body to science, so UAB has her body, and I have to do paperwork for that. Okay. Hopefully they mailed it to me yesterday. That shouldn't take long, but it is just something else. There are going to be at least 2 memorial services, one at our church and one at Episcopal place, and I've got to work with the people there. I'm working with the social worker at Episcopal place. I'm working with the chaplain at Episcopal place. I'm working with the pastor at our church. I'm working with our Sunday school class. And then I found out other people that might ministries of the church and other places that could use some of the furniture or something else for people, say, who've lost everything, a fire or flood, or gotten evicted or something like this and need to start over again. I'm trying to coordinate all that, so it's kind of nuts. So in between my medical thing and this, all happening in the same week, by the way, it's just I'm really stressed for time. Yesterday morning, I had 8 to 12 office hours. At least half of that time was spent with Judy's stuff. Okay, I got a little bit of work done. Last evening from 4 to 6, I had less of Judy's stuff to do, so I had a fair amount of time to get work done, schoolwork. Today already I've had 10 messages come in while I've been teaching this morning. So I've got to deal with those in my office hours that are coming up, because I can't wait until the end of the day, because no one's in the office at the end of the day. So I've got to deal with that. I've got to deal with the chaplain at Episcopal place and the social worker at Episcopal place. Okay. Tomorrow morning, 8 to 10, I'm hoping that I'll have most of that time to deal with my stuff. But I know in the afternoon from 4 to 6, I will not be able to be in the office at all. I've got to go to her apartment and document and catalog all of her artwork. She was an artist, and several people have expressed interest in having some of her paintings. That's where the legal part comes in. I assume we can give them away because they got to get rid of them somewhere. So it's just a mess. So I'm meeting a guy over there shortly after 4 tomorrow. So 4 to 6 is out tomorrow. Then all day Thursday, all day Friday. Now I say all day Thursday. I'm going in at 7 for a treatment. They say 8 hours. That puts me out at 3. So if I get out at 3 and I can do it, I'm going to teach my 3:15 class tomorrow afternoon. But that's supposed to go to 7:45. I doubt if I'll make it till 7:45, and usually our labs don't last quite as long as the full 2 hours, so I may have a little time tomorrow afternoon. Friday, however, 0 office hours because I'll be at the clinic by 8:15. That means I have to leave here by 8 o'clock. Normally my office hours are 8 to 12. Friday is a 90% day. Tomorrow or Thursday is a 10% dosage. So I might be able to get out in less than 8 hours on Thursday. Hardly any way I'll get out in less than 8 hours on Friday. So my whole Friday will be shot, and then the odds are I'll be come home and go right back to bed because the Benadryl just makes me so sleepy. So the rest of this week is pretty broken up, okay, office hours wise. And Thursday's class, we will not be meeting in this class. Hopefully my afternoon class I can meet, but not this one. My 8:30, my 10, and this 11:30 class will all be wiped out by the treatment on Thursday. All right, any questions, issues, problems, concerns? Okay, sorry I talked so long. What I want you to be thinking about is what you want to do about our missed class on Thursday. We can either make it up, and Kara, I said this earlier, but I'll say it again for you. Next week or the following week, it doesn't matter, whenever you want to make it up. The times when it's possible, Monday or Wednesday, 8 to 10, Monday or Wednesday, 4 to 6. Tuesday or Thursday, right after this class, 12:45 to 2 or 1 to 2:15 or whatever we want to do there. I'm free basically after this class up until about 3 o'clock. Okay? And then Friday of next week from 8 to 10. Not this week, next week. I mean 8 to 12. Okay, so, or you can watch the YouTube video that covers wherever we leave off today and picks up and goes from there. Or you can say, let's just pick it up next Tuesday and not make up the class. So whichever you want to do, let me know by the end of class today. All right? Now, any questions, problems, issues, concerns? Okay. We finished Chapter 2 last time, and I'm pretty sure I posted the Chapter 2 test on Blackboard. I think I tried to get it in both places, either week 9 or week 10. You may find the test 2 spot there. Even if you find the test 2 spot, you may not find the test there. If they didn't leave a plus sign for me to put it there, I couldn't put it there. I'm pretty sure I did put it on Blackboard messages, same place I put the first test. So either place, maybe both places, it's the same test, just do the test, okay? Now, that means I need to have been receiving your first test in, because now you have 2 tests out. Now, some of you, I know James has turned in his. I can't remember if the others of you have or not. Please get your first test in so you can be working on the second test. Any questions, either on Chapter 1 or Chapter 2? All right. Chapter 3 is where we're starting today. Chapter 3 is the shortest chapter we're going to do. We're going to get through it really quickly. So that's right. It's really important for you to get the first 2 tests in before I give you the third test. Okay. So Chapter 3 is on determinants. And we talked a little bit about determinants in the last section or 2. We're going to go into them 4 sections here. Okay. The first is just talking about the determinant of a matrix. The second section, determinants and elementary operations, which we were doing at the end of chapter 2. Properties of determinants is 3.3 and applications are 3.4. We won't do all the applications, but we'll go into a few of those. So 3.1, the determinant of a matrix. Okay, we're going to start small. We've already talked about the determinant of a 2 by 2 matrix. We're going to give you a little bit easier way to do that, simpler approach to it. We'll do that. Okay, and then we'll get into what they call minors and cofactors. Basically what you use those for is doing bigger square matrices. 2 by 2s are easy. The bigger ones you break down till you get down to 2 by 2s and do those. And you do that using the minors and cofactors. Okay, so we'll be defining all those terms. And then we'll use an expansion by cofactors to find the determinant of a matrix. And we'll find the determinant of a triangular matrix, which you'll find to be just about as easy as doing a 2 by 2, but we'll get there in a minute. Okay, so here's where we're going to begin. Okay, and this is tedious. I'll admit it's tedious because it's dealing only with letters, not with numbers. So let's take this system of equations. 2 equations, 2 unknown. Okay, A11, the coefficient of the first variable, times x1, or do they call it y? Yeah, x1. Okay, plus A12 times x2 is equal to b1. Some equation A, B, A11, A12, and B are all numbers. You know, real numbers, whatever. Second equation, A21 x1 plus A22 x2 is equal to b2. Okay, again, the A's and the B's are numbers. The X's are your variables. Now, way back, possibly in Math 098, definitely probably in Math 100, you may have run into it a little bit in 112. We often solved a system like this by what they call elimination by addition. Okay, and what we would do, and I'm going to try to do it the same way the book does here, because you could choose several different ways to do it. Let's multiply the top equation by A22 and the bottom equation by A minus A12. Yeah, okay. So what we're going to do is try to eliminate x2. Okay, it's so much more fun with numbers in it. Okay, multiply the top equation by A sub 22 and multiply the bottom equation by minus A12. Now why would we do that? See, if we do this, then that gives us an A12, A22 here. Down here you get a minus A12, A22, and those are just the, when you add the two together, we eliminate the x2 variable. So let's do that. Okay, this would be A11, A22 times x1 plus A12 times A22 times x2 is equal to A22 times B1. Okay, the book may write them in different order. Let's do the same thing here, only we're going to multiply everything in this equation by negative A12. So that's negative A12 times A21 times x1 minus A12 times A22 times x2, and now you see the beauty of doing that. That's equal to minus A12 B2. So now when you add the two equations together, these two add to 0. You've eliminated x2. So what do we have? A11 A12 minus A12 A21 times x1, that's adding this to that, okay, is equal to A22 B1 minus A12 B2. All right. What is your x1? Divide by this number here. Divide by A11 A12 minus A21 A12 A21. Divide this side and this side by that. A11 A12 minus A12 A2. I wrote that wrong. This is A22. I keep thinking, what's wrong with this? Yeah, that is a tutu there. Not that I'm wearing or anything. Okay, and this is, I've got myself all confused now. A11 A22 minus A12 A21. Yeah, so I think that's the only thing I got wrong. And this is A21. Okay, well, this goes away, and guess what we have? We have the answer, x1. We have the value for x1, and it's A22 B1 minus A12 B2 over A11 A22 minus A12 A21. Okay. Yeah. Now, we could have done the same. Multiply the top equation by a A21 and the bottom equation by a minus A11, and done the same thing without going through all the gore of doing that. I'll just write down the answer. X of 2 would then be equal to, okay, A one times, I'm sorry, let me just write it from the book. I'm trying to do it in my head, and that's, the head's not cooperating very well today. So let me see if I can find the eraser here. Okay. I think it started off okay, but it fell apart there pretty quickly. The numerator is A21 B1 minus A11 B2. Pretty sure that's it. Okay. Over, and the denominator, believe it or not, is A11 A22 minus A12 A21. Same denominator. Okay. Now, let's focus on that denominator a little bit. Okay? Now, what is that denominator? If we had done this like we have been doing in linear algebra and set up a matrix here, that coefficient matrix would have been A11, A12, A21, A22, right? Now what did we do the last time? We did this product minus that product. That was the determinant, and look at what that is. That's your denominator here. And it's the same as the denominator here. Okay? That's the determinant of your coefficient matrix. So the determinant of, I'm just going to call it A, that's your denominator here and here. Okay? Because it's the downward diagonal minus the upward diagonal. The product of the downward diagonal minus the product of the upper diagonal elements for a 2 by 2. That's what it is. Now, here's the other thing that sort of becomes kind of bizarre. What is the numerator here? Well, for the x1 here, this one, instead of your x1 coefficients here, if you had put in B1 and B2 here, and then did that same determinant, A22 times B1, there that is, minus A12 times B2, there that is. If you had put the B1 here and the B2 here, and forget about them here or here, for this one here, what would be this? A11 times B2. This is reversed, but and minus A21 times B1. Okay? Now, I can't think why I've got those backwards. Yeah. They did it the other way, and they reversed these two. But you still get the same answer. Okay? It would have messed up the sign down here, but not there. Okay? So guess what? That leads to what I've already said, and we've already done. Let me clear the screen here. That thing we just did there with that denominator especially, here is the determinant of a matrix, of a 2 by 2. If I can get my pen to show up. There you are. Okay. If this is matrix A, and this doesn't have to have anything to do with coefficients, any 2 by 2 matrix A, A11, A12 times A21, I mean not times, A21, A22, any 2 by 2 matrix like that, the determinant of that matrix, and I like to use this symbol. They like to write out DET. That's way too much writing for me, okay? The determinant of A is equal to the downward product of the downward diagonal A11, A22, minus the product of the upper diagonals, minus, it doesn't matter which one you put first, A12, A21. That's the determinant. They usually write it the other way, A21, A12, it doesn't really matter. That's the definition of the determinant of a 2 by 2 matrix. Okay? Now they didn't do the cross multiplication, I did. Okay? Because that's what you do. Now, Oh, I meant to say this about the other one. Remember, that was our denominator of our x1 and x2. Well, guess what? What if that denominator was 0? That meant there was no solution to that system of equations. If that cross product, if that determinant of those coefficients happens to be 0, there is no solution. Okay? Now, I think we talked about before, what did that mean for that to be 0? That meant that one of those rows or columns was a multiple of the other row or column. Now, this is only for 2 by 2s. Okay? Same thing would be true for larger, but you can have them disguised a lot more than that, but that would be the case. In other words, if the determinant of the coefficient matrix is not 0, you have solutions. If it is 0, you do not have a solution, period. Okay? So let's do example 1. I think I'll clear the slide just because it's a fairly lengthy example. So here's a matrix. A is equal to 2, -3, 1, 2. What is the determinant of A? Pretty easy to do, isn't it? Downward diagonal would be 2 times 2, 4, minus the upward diagonal, so it would be minus a -3, which would be +3, and that equals 7. Guess what? That's not 0, so this, if these were the coefficients of a system of equations, then there would be a solution. Okay? Now here's B. Matrix B is equal to, I'm sorry, I'm running out of juice again. A part of this is just absolute hunger. It's 12:08 and I'm starving, but hopefully a little bit of sugar will keep me tided over a little bit. Here is B, 2, 1, 4, 2, the determinant of B would be what? Anybody? Product of the downward diagonal would be 2 times 2, 4 again, minus the product of the upward diagonal, and this time it would be a -4. That's equal to 0. Well, guess what? We knew that. The bottom row was twice the top row. It was a multiple of it. We knew the determinant was going to be 0. What does that mean? If these were the coefficients of a system of equations, 2 by 2 system of equations, okay, I was a little carried away before. You don't have a unique solution. You could have an infinite number of solutions if the B's were actually the same multiples. That would be an infinite number of solutions. But if they were any other numbers than the same multiple of that, there would be no solution. I sort of said blanket no solution. Not necessarily the case. Could have an infinite number if the B's were the same multiple. Here's another one. C is 0, 3/2. Remember, these coefficients don't have to be all positive. They don't have to be all integers. 2, 4. Okay. Let's see what the determinant of C is. The product of your downward diagonal is 0. Minus the product of the upward diagonal, that would be a -3. Okay, so there's the determinant of C, -3. perfectly fine for that to be, that will have a unique solution if those were the coefficients of your system of equations. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is talk about minors and cofactors. Okay, the minors are pretty easy. Well, they can be challenging, but they're not too bad. The cofactors actually turn out to be incredibly easy, except there's a lot to do with them. Okay, and then putting them together, if you use their long drawn out formulas, they can be tedious. Okay, if you get the practice of doing it, you'll start doing them basically in your head, not even thinking you're doing minors and cofactors, but you're doing them, and they still can be tedious, but not so bad. Okay, so let's clear the screen. I know that was a very vague introduction to it. So let me, I'm debating whether to type this in or write it. There's a lot of subscripts here, so which do you read better, my writing or the typing? You tell me. Do you have a preference? Anybody? I put you all to sleep already, huh? I'm the one with anemia. I should be sleeping. Okay. Well, I think I'll write unless you say type. Let me know. Okay. If, I'll probably regret this, if A, now number one, has to be square. I'm just going to leave it there. If A is a square matrix, then the minor and they call it M sub I J. Okay, of the entry you didn't speak up, so you got to see my writing. Aij. Remember, Aij is just some element in that square matrix A. The minor of that is what we're going to be talking about for that entry. Okay, that minor, the minor M, is the determinant I'm going to abbreviate that, is the determinant of the matrix my writing's terrible, obtained okay, that's terrible, by deleting the ith row and the jth column. Okay, of A. Okay, now that's a little messy, but okay, we'll go back and actually show you how to do this. The cofactor okay, Cij of the entry Aij, okay, is, now this is the weird part, and it's okay, it's correct, minus 1 raised to the ith plus j power times your m, I, j. That's all it is. It's just plus or minus what the minor was. Okay? That's all it is. It's just plus or minus the minor. It's the same as the minor if I and j add to be an even number. So that means if either I and j are both even or both odd, they're going to add to be an even number. Then the cofactor will be the same as the minor. Okay? However, if the one of those is even the other odd, it doesn't matter which. When you add those together, that's going to be an odd number. Minus 1 to an odd number is going to be minus. So the cofactor is either plus or minus the minor, depending on where the ij came from. If it's first row, first column, the cofactor is the same as the minor, because 1 plus 1 is 2. First row, second column, that means the cofactor is minus what the minor was, because 1 plus 2 is 3. That's an odd number. Okay. Now, they show here what they're talking about. Here's a 3 by 3 matrix. Let me get this back in my lap. Okay. Your standard old 3 by 3 matrix, generic in nature. Why won't the pen come over here where it belongs? There it goes. Okay. So, okay, we go to 1245. Okay. A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A33. There's your standard old matrix. 3 by 3 matrix. Alright. You pick any one of those 9 entries. Any one of them. Pick one for me. Somebody. Pick an entry for me. I don't care which one. Pick one of those 9. Are you still there? It's an easy question. Give me one of those 9 values, representations. A blank blank. Are y'all there? You're not there. Where are you? Hello? James, Kira, Miguel, or Jesus, give me somebody, just pick one of those values, one of those entries. Hello, hello. Yeah, anyone. A23. This is the one that James picked, this one right here. There's the entry A23. Now, what is the minor of A23? What we do, we eliminate the row and the column that A23 is in, and the determinant of what's left over is it. So the minor for 23 would be the determinant of A11, A12, A31, A32, which would be down diagonal A11, A32 minus the up diagonal A12, A31, or whichever order you want to do it. That's the minor. It's the determinant of what's left over after you eliminate the column and row that was your entry was in. Okay? Now, what would be the cofactor to 3? It's either going to be that or exactly the opposite of that, the negative of that. How do we determine? The key is right there. What's 2 plus 3? 5. Is that even or odd? That's odd. So C23 would be minus M23, which would be the minus of this. So I would write this as A12, A31 minus A11, A32. Or you could just put a negative out in front of something. That's how you find them. Okay? Say again? Okay, James, your microphone's still on. No problem. Okay. So, the one in the book, they chose A21 rather than A23, but you see they do the same thing. You get what the minor is, and it's the determinant of that. They just left it like the yoke. Okay, they just left it like this, and then they said C2, they did 2-1. That also would have been the negative of M21. Okay, now choose me a different element here. I'll tell you whether it's a good one or not. Okay, no. Let me get my eraser here. Okay, I'm going to erase that, and that, and that. So you pick me another element. Anybody? Somebody. A12? Okay. Yeah. Let's not do A12. So pick another one. Yeah. Ah, that's good. We'll pick A13 this time. So we'll first do the minor of 1-3, and that would be the determinant when you eliminate the row and column of A13. That's the determinant of A21, A22, A31, A32. And you do the cross multiplication and go from there. What would be the cofactor of 1-3? Exactly the minor of 1-3, because 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 is an even number, so therefore they're the same. So if the subscripts add to a even number, the minor and the cofactor are exactly the same value. They are the same. But if the goodness, I'm trying to think of my word, subscripts for your of that entry add to be an odd number, then it's the negative of the minor. Your cofactor is the negative of the minor. Okay, So really it was a lot easier than all the writing up there. Just do it. Okay, so let's do example 2. All right. It says find all the minors and all the cofactors of A. Goodness, this pen is just doing weird things. Here's your A, 0 to 1, 3, -1, 2, 4, 0, 1. Okay, I'm going to have to get me another sip of something here. I hope it's mostly hunger now and not just exhaustion. I don't know. Okay. It says find all the minors and all the cofactors. Now, whether we're going to have time for it, I don't know. But let's start with the first entry here. A11. Its minor and its cofactor, you wipe out the first row and first column. The minor would be what you have here. The determinant of that, which would be a -1, right? That's it. Wipe out the first row, first column. The determinant of what's left, -1 times 1 is -1, -2 times 0 is 0. So it's just -1. While we're here, let's go on and do, that's minor of 1, 1. The cofactor of 1, 1, because 1 plus 1 is 2, that's even, it's also -1. Same value. Okay, let's go on and do the minor of 1, 2. This one. Wipe out that row and that column, and then take the determinant of what's left. 3 times 1 is 3, -8. 3 minus 8 is -5. The cofactor of 1, 2, because 1 plus 2 is 3, that's odd, that would be +5. Okay, are y'all following this? Minor of 1, 3, wipe out the first row and first column. That would be this little matrix left here. That would be 3 times 0 is 0, minus a 4 times -1, which would be -4. So that's just going to be 4. Okay, folks, I am so sorry. I don't know what's going wrong. I know some of it is anemia, some of it may be tiredness, some of it may be who knows what. Hunger. A lot of it is hunger. Okay. And the cofactor for 1, 3 is plus or minus the minor, but since 1 plus 3 is 4, it's positive. I mean, it's the same value. So let's do the minor of 2, 1. So wipe out second row, first column. Then do the determinant of what's left. 2 times 1 is 2, minus 0, so that's 2. But the cofactor of 2, 1, because 1 plus 2 is 3, that's odd, that would be a -2. Do you see that? This one's 2, that one's -2. The minor for 2, 2, wipe out the second row, second column, take the determinant of what's left, that would be a 0, -4. So that would be a -4. The cofactor of 2, 2, because 2 plus 2 is 4, that is equal to -4 as well. It's the same value as the minor. Then we'll do the minor. I say minor and write cofactor, so I don't know what's going wrong. And now, oh, it will. Okay. Goodness gracious. minor of 2, 3. Oh man, I'm going to get this book out of my lap. It's not that heavy, but it's more than I want to hold. Goodness gracious, I have no energy. Wipe out the second row, third column, and take the determinant of what's left. 0 times 0 is 0, minus 4 times 2 is 8, so that's minus 8. But the cofactor of 2, 3, because 2 plus 3 is 5, that's odd. That would be the opposite of that, which would be 8. Alright. Let's move down to the minor of 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to try something else. I'd opened some goldfish before. I'm hoping it's just hunger. Sorry about the crunching. Okay. Minor of 2, 3 would be wipe out the, I'm sorry, this is 3, 1. I don't know. See, my brain's not with it. I don't know where 2, 3 came from. 3, 1. Now, wipe out the third row, first column. You're left just with this little 2 by 2 here, and its determinant is 4 minus a minus 1, which is 4 plus 1. That would be 5. And because 3 plus 1 is 4, and that's even, the cofactor of 3, 1 is also 5. Okay? Let's do the minor of 3, 2. So wipe out the third row and the second column. See what you get. The determinant of what's left is 0 times 2 is 0, minus 3 times 1 is 3. So it would be a minus 3. But because these are odd, the sum is odd, the cofactor of 3, 2 would be positive 3. Okay. My writing is getting worse and worse. The minor for 3, 3, which is third row, third column, wipe that out. You have this little matrix up here, 0, minus 6, so that would be a minus 6, and the cofactor of 3, 3, because 3 plus 3 is 9, yuck. Okay. I can't even tell what I've got going here. Oh, I see, that's an equal sign. Looks so strange. 3 plus 3 is 6, that's even, so this will also be minus 6. Yeah, I have to change the sign around it all. I'm sorry, folks. I am just running out of energy like crazy. The goldfish didn't do any good. So far, the caffeine and the sugar haven't done any good. So here we have all 9 of our minors and our cofactors. Okay? Now let's see what they did. They got a minus 1, minus 5, 4, 2, minus 4, minus 8. Let me not use that. Let me use my finger here. Where is my cursor? Come on, where did the cursor go? Oh, there it is. Okay. And then the third row is 5, negative 3, negative 6. Then the cofactors would, look at that. I'm not even holding a pen and it drew on it. It would be minus 1, 5, 4, negative 2, negative 4, positive 8, and 5, 3, negative 6. Got it. Okay, we found them all. Okay, Now, that being said, any questions on example 2? Okay, let's move to example, well, let's move to the top of page 112. Okay, the definition below is said to be inductive because it uses the determinant of a square matrix of order n-1 to define the determinant of a square matrix of order n. Okay, so this is what we're going to be doing, and again, I think I'm going to have to write this with my pen just because I can't do a summation symbol on the typing, and that would be really hard to, and it has lots of subscripts. So A is square. Let's start with that. It's got to be square for you to do a determinant of order greater than or equal to 2. We don't talk about square matrix of order 1. That's just a single number. Then the determinant of A is the sum of the entries in the first row of A multiplied by their respective cofactors. Yuck. Okay. Now here's how they say it. The determinant of A is equal to the sum of, they're choosing J equal 1 to n. This is an n by n matrix. So J is going from 1 to n of A sub ij times C sub ij. C is being the cofactor of ij. Okay? Okay. Part of it is I'm having trouble reading in the shadows here, and it's straining my eyes like crazy. Shouldn't be drinking this much soft drink, but I gotta have something. And now the drawing thing is quit. Okay, so that is equal to the J's going from 1 to n, so that would be A I. I'm sorry, I wrote those wrong. These are ones here. We're using the first row. Okay, the first row of A. So those are all ones. That's A11, C11, plus A12, C12, plus A13, C13, plus dot, 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 plus A all the way up to A1N, C1N. Okay? That's it. Okay. Now, they give you this, and it's perfectly correct. Okay. And by the way, if A is just a 2 by 2 matrix, what is that? A11, C11 plus A12, C12, and you're done, because it's a 2 by 2 matrix. That's all. You don't get threes or anything else. Well, what is the cofactor of A11? Wipe out the first row, first column. It's just A22. Okay, that's all. That's all it is. Positive A22, because and the cofactor for A12 would be, wipe out first row, second column, and you'd have the cofactor of 12 would be first row, second column. That would just be A21. Okay, but it'd be minus A21. Okay, and that would be it. That sum would be what we have. Okay, and that's exactly what you get when you do that. What I just said was A11 times the cofactor of 1 would be, wipe out first row, first column, that would be 2, 2, so it would be A22. And then I said I was going to write the plus down here, A12 times the cofactor of A12, so wipe out first row, second column, and you get A, but you do the minus of it, because that's an odd number, A 21. Okay, and we'll change that plus to minus sign. Okay, and that, folks, is exactly what our determinant on a 2 by 2 was. The main diagonal minus the up diagonal. Okay, that's it. Okay. Now, when you use that definition to evaluate a determinant, you call it expanding by the first row. Okay? Now, we're going to show that, but in a little bit, in just a little bit, they're going to tell you it doesn't matter which row or which column you use. Just pick a row, pick a column, go for it. So let's see if we can squeeze example 3 in here quickly. Find the determinant of A. Okay, I'm just going to write the matrix this way. 0, 2, 1, 3, minus 1, 2, 4, 0, 1. Okay, it said use the first row. Well, guess what? That first one's easy. 0 times the determinant of that is going to be 0. So that's done for you. Good. Okay. Using the next one. Okay. Now, remember, it's that value 2 times the cofactor of 2, which is, wipe out the second row, or the first row, second column, do that, but then you're going to negate it. So I like to go on and negate here. And here is going to be, and they did this trick on the side, but I forgot to point it out to you. When you're doing, this is how you take care of the cofactor without even thinking about it. Okay? Whichever one you're using here, think. It starts here plus. Plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus. Or plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus. Any way you do it, as long as you go up and down, right and left, don't do diagonal, you're just alternating signs every time. So when I got here, I see that's going to be plus minus. That's going to be a minus 2 times the determinant of what's left. The determinant of what's left is 3 minus 8 is going to be a minus 5. Okay? Then the third entry here, let me erase what I just drew. Okay, so we won't be confusing things later. Okay, third entry is a positive, plus minus plus, so it's plus 1. See, that way you can take care of the cofactors without even worrying with it. 0 minus a minus 4, it'd be times of 4. Okay, so this will be 10 plus 4 equal 14. Not too bad. Let's make sure I got it right. Did. Okay. Now, if you chose any row, any column, and did the same thing, you always get the same result. Okay. We're out of time now, so I don't want to dig on it any longer. You want to start. Okay. First, you tell me what you want to do. Do you want to make up the class? Do you want to use a recording, or do you want to skip it and just pick up where we left off next time? You tell me. Anybody? Okay, I need to know something so I'll know what to plan. Okay, I'm missing class on Thursday. I've got to have an infusion. We won't be holding class. Do you want to make up the class? That's the first part. Yes or no? If you do want to make it up, when do you want to make it up? Or do you want to just watch it on YouTube wherever we left off here, pick it up on YouTube, watch that next class, and then tell me where you left off, and we'll pick up and go from there next Tuesday? Or just skip everything and pick it up where we left off today on Tuesday. Or anybody. I just want to hear somebody say something. What you want to do? Pick up where we left. Say again? We can try to make it up, but what day, I'm not sure. Okay. Now, it seems like, do any of you have anything immediately after this class? You do? Okay, well then that's out of the question. Okay, is a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday better? Because Tuesday and Thursday are out now because the only time I have is immediately after this class. Okay, now not this Friday, but you want to make it up next Friday? Okay, so I heard Monday and Wednesday was out for you. Is that what you said, James? So you would need to have it the same day, but Friday is out for you? You wouldn't mind doing it Friday? Okay. Okay. Kara, are you available on Friday? Kara? You are? Okay. What time do you want it? 8, 8:30, 9, any time between 8 and 12. You pick it. 8 o'clock. Okay. So let's plan not for this coming Friday, not for this week, but the following week. So what we'll do on Tuesday, we'll pick up where we left off today. Thursday, we'll pick up where we left off on Tuesday. And then Friday morning at 8 o'clock, we'll pick up and go from there and do a class. So we'll make up the class Friday morning of next week. Is that okay? Now, is that the last Friday in the month? I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, because this Friday, no. Okay, I'm sorry. We've got to be out of town that Friday. We've got to leave very early in the morning and go out of town. So how about the following Friday? Not this Friday and not next Friday, but the following Friday. Is that okay? Okay, well then we'll remind ourselves later. So next week will just be as normal, and then the following week will be as normal, and then on Friday make up the one class. Okay? Good deal. Okay, let's remember that for next week. So we'll not plan to do anything until just have class from where we left off today on next Tuesday. We will not be having class on Thursday. That okay? All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. Do y'all have any questions, problems, concerns, issues? If not, I'll go on and end the meeting. So I won't see you anymore this week. Well, I'll see 3 of you tomorrow, okay? All 3 of you tomorrow. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow's okay. It's Thursday and Friday that are gone, okay? So we'll see you tomorrow, and take care, and see you in class tomorrow. Bye-bye.